All right, guys. Here's the big one. Okay, imagine I'm multiplying this. Imagine I'm multiplying a plus 2 times a plus 4. We did this before. Okay, remember you have to do the first one times the first one, which is a times a, which is a squared. The second one times the first one, which is plus 2a. You have to do, let's see, what haven't we done? The first one times the last one, which is plus 4a. A times 4 is 4a. And then finally, the last one times the last one. 2 times 4 is 8. So you've got a squared. You've got 2a plus 4a is 6a. And then you've got plus 8 at the end. Notice that that is this problem. All right, so how does it work out? All right, so because we have a squared, we know it's going to be a times something and a times something. The shortcut is I've got to think of two numbers that multiply to 8 that add up to 6. That's what I got to think of. And in my head, I'm like, oh, 4 and 2. So I can put them, okay, positive 4 and positive 2. So I just factored that into a squared plus 6a plus 8 is really just a plus 4 times a plus 2. So the trick is you have to try to figure out two numbers that multiply to the back number that add up to the middle number. So I'm going to do number 6. Let's see. All right. I got to think of two numbers that multiply up to make 16, but add together to make negative 10. All right, let's think. Things that could be 16 times 1, 8 times 2, 4 times 4. Okay. Let's see. 8 and 2 could make negative 10 if they were both negative. Oh, and if they're both negative, they multiply to make a positive number. Okay, so I'm going to have I'm going to have negative 8 and negative 2 are my two numbers that multiply to make negative 8 and negative 2 multiply to make 16. Negative 8 and negative 2 add together to make negative 10. So that's how you factor these. You just got to think of, play a game in your head. What multiplies together to make the back one? What two numbers add together to make the middle one? If I'm going to do number 8, I'm going to think of, okay, what two numbers add together to make 56? Well, I know 8 times 7 is 56, but that doesn't seem like 8 and 7 can't add together to make 18. So I got to think of some other things. Okay, what about, let's see, what else makes 56? 16, 14, 13. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, 2 times 28. I don't know how that makes 18. Okay, 4, 9, let's see, 4 times, how many times is 4 going to 56? 56 divided by 4. Oh, 4 times 14. There's how we're going to get 18. Okay, so 4 times 14 is 56. 4 plus 14 is 18. Those are the two things I need. I need positive 4, W plus 4, and W plus 14. So that's the way you factor all these three when none of these three share anything, right? I can't take a W out of anything. That one doesn't have a W. This one doesn't have a number. There's no number. There's nothing they share. All right, number 10. I'm going to do, remember, you're doing I need some number that makes positive 14, two numbers that make positive 14, but add up to be negative 9. So they must be both negative numbers. That's how we multiply to make a positive. All right, so I think negative 7 times negative 2 is the two numbers that make 14, and negative 7 and negative 2 combine together to make negative 9. So we're factoring. Okay, next ones. Let's see. Solve the equation. Remember, if this is going to equal 20, if this is going to equal 0, once I factor it, it's going to be really easy to tell one of the sides has to equal 0. So for 22, let's see, can I think of two numbers that multiply to 21 that add to negative 10? let's see, it's either 21 and 1, it's 7 and 3. Oh, there we go, 7 and 3. But they have to make negative 10, so they're both negative. So x minus 7 times x minus 3. Negative 7 and negative 3 are the two numbers that multiply to make 21 and add to negative 10 equals 0. And the only way this can equal 0 is if either this guy is 0 or this guy is 0. So the answers are 7, x equals 7 and 3. That's what 7 makes this side 0, 3 would make this side 0. Pretty impossible to just look at this problem and know that. But once you factor it, once you say, oh, this is really just x minus 3 times x minus 7 equals 0, you know the answers are 7 and 3. All right, 24, I'll do that one. All right, if I can factor it, I can solve it. Let's see, I need two numbers, maybe 11 times 4. Oh yeah, and if it was negative 11 times negative 4, those would both be negative 44, or that would be positive 44, and negative 11 minus 4 is negative 15. So those are the two numbers I need. I need negative 11, and I need negative 4. That's what's gonna do it. So when I know my two answers are when x equals 11. This side is 0 when x is 11. This side is 0 when x is 4. There's my answer. So I'm just factoring. 26. Okay, 26. Pay attention. We need it to be something equals 0. So let's put this guy over here. This needs to be r squared plus 2r minus 24 equals 0. All right, now I can factor it. I got to think of two numbers that multiply to negative 24 that are 2 apart, and the positive is going to be, I know the only way that two numbers could be negative is one's positive and one's negative, but the positive is 2 bigger than the negative. That's why it's positive 2. So for this one, x plus 6, positive 6 versus negative 4. 6 and negative 4 make negative 24. So what two things can it be? Is when x is negative 6 or positive 4. Those are the two things that would make this equal 0. All right, let's see. 28. Ooh, okay. Let's throw this over here with this guy. Y squared minus 2y. Let's throw the negative 7 over here. So we have minus 15 equals 0. We have to set these equal to 0. All right, I got to think of two numbers where the negative is 2 bigger than the positive. I know they're opposites because they're going to make a negative. So I know this is going to be x plus 3 times x minus 5. Because negative 5 and positive 3 multiplied to negative 15. And the negative needed to win by 2. So that's how it. So the answers are when x equals negative 3 or 5. It's impossible to know that looking at this, but once you make it equal to 0 and you factor it, you know it has to be true. 30. Ooh, let's send all this on one side. So we have b squared. Let's send this 8b over to here, so minus 8b. Let's send this negative 10 over here to make positive 10, so this is plus 15 equals 0. Now I can do it. All right. I need to have both numbers multiply to a positive, but they add to a negative, which means they both must be negative. So negative 3 and negative 5 are the two numbers that multiply to positive 15 and add to negative 8. Equals 0, so the answer is x equals 3 or 5. All right, let's see. Find the roots of the polynomials. Just factor it. Same thing. X plus 3 and x plus 2. 34. Let's go 45. 15 times 3. No. 9 times 5 is 45. There we go. X minus 9. X minus 5. 36. X squared minus 16x plus 28. Let's go 7 and 4. No, 14 and 2. Okay, x minus 2, x minus 14. I knew they needed to both be negative. That's how we get a positive number when you multiply. And I knew they were both negative because they add to a negative number. All right, let's see. 38. Solve the equation. Okay, this one's tough. 38. T times t is t squared. T times negative 13 is negative 13t equals 30. We got to put the 30 over on this side, so now we have t squared minus 13t minus 30 equals 0. We have to set this whole thing equal to 0 first. Now we can factor it. X plus 15. No, sorry, that's not right. X minus 15 times x plus 2. That's how we get negative 30 as a multiplication answer and negative 13 as an addition answer equals 0. So this is when x is 15 or negative 2. All right, number 40. Let's see, 40. Once I do a squared plus 3a minus 21 equals 33, right? I did this and this. All right, let's send this guy over here because we need to make it 0. So a squared plus 3a minus 54 equals 0. 9 times 6 is 54. I need the positives to win by 3. So x plus 9 and x minus 6 equals 0. X equals negative 9 or positive 6. 42. All right, I need to set the whole thing equal to 0. Let's see, x squared minus 10x. Negative 10 times negative 1 is plus 10 equals negative 11. I'm going to send the negative 11 to this side, so plus 11. X squared minus 10x plus 21 equals 0. All right, let's see, x minus 7 and x minus 3. Negative 7 and negative 3 multiply to positive 21. They also add to negative 10 equals 0. So my answers are x equals 7 or 3. Let's see, 44. 44. 2t times 1 half t. 2 times 1 half is 1. T times t is t squared. 2t times 5 is plus 10t equals 39. I'm going to send the 39 over to this side, so minus 39 equals 0. Okay, let's see. I got to think of 13 and 3. So I need them to be 1. If it's going to multiply to a negative number, I know 1 has to be positive and 1 has to be negative. And I know the positive has to win by 10. Okay, so x plus 13 and x minus 3 equals 0. X equals negative 13 or 3. All right, so I just did the whole assignment for evens. You got to do the odds. Okay, good luck.